You are welcome yet to a new episode on Africa Uncovered News YouTube channel. My name is DJ, and as usual, we discuss the geopolitics of East Africa, Africa, and the world at large. For as long as something has an element of effect to Africa, we discuss it. And when you look at it, literally everything in turn has something to affect Africa as a continent. So we discuss it to put it to light to people to understand, to appreciate Africa and move on. So today, to be specific, we are going to be discussing the country of Kenya and what's going on in Kenya. Now, you all understand that there is an uprising, a demonstration in Kenya that is going on right now, and we're asking ourselves, is Kenya's use of soft hands, soft gloves, the problem that leads to endless demonstrations in the country? Is it the problem, or they actually need a man, the old man with a hat, to come and discipline them? Okay, you understand who I'm talking about, and that drives us to our working title today, which is Kenyan government is too weak to deal with rioters. Borrow a lift from the man with the hat. That's what we're going to be discussing today on Africa Uncovered YouTube channel. My name is DJ. Now, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please take off some time and subscribe. It is very, very important to us. And this is how we begin. Around September last year, that is 2024, Kenya was rocked with demonstrations that were widely known as Reject Finance Bill 2024 or the Gen Z protests. These were a series of decentralized mass protests in Kenya against the tax increases that were proposed by the government of Kenya in the Finance Bill of 2024. Now, so many people lost their lives in there. It is estimated that about 60 people lost their lives, and so many were put in prison and others disappeared, and up to date they've not been seen. Okay, and it should be understood that the culture of demonstrations and riots in Kenya has just not begun yesterday, has not just begun. Even during the previous, previous governments, they have been continuously, demonstrating. But one thing that is generic that you can pick out of this is that Kenya seems to be a country that wants to play double standard. You want to show that you're democratic, but in the actual sense, if democracy is measured at 100%, you literally have moved like 30%. Okay, so you are just democratic in disguise. You're actually undemocratic in disguise, if I may say. I know so many people will come at me for saying that, but that is the truth. Now, the only new way that Kenya has is having, presidents that are not military. We're going to look at that. And we shall also see the connection with the events that are happening right now. How is having, a non-military officer, non-military president, affect the chronology of how things should be running? We shall look at that. But let's first look at the scenario that just happened. Demonstrations began in Kenya again a few days ago. Now, this comes after, in the wake of the death of one of the popular bloggers and a teacher called Albert Ojong, who was, who died, unfortunately, in custody a few days ago, approximately about 10. And, demonstrations began in Kenya like a small thing, but eventually they escalated, and these people were demanding the sacking of a top police officer. Now, police initially had said that Mr. Ogwang had died of self-inflicted wounds, but then they were forced to retract their statement after an autopsy found that it was likely he died after being assaulted. Now, 2 police officers had been arrested in connection with his death, but the protests did not stop. Okay, the protest comes amidst simmering tensions ahead of, the first week anniversary of the storming of the parliament by demonstrators during the Gen Z demonstrations, or what we called reject the finance bill demonstration that we all know that happened in Kenya and almost went with Dr. William Ruto's presidency. So it was really a tense moment. But here it comes again in Nigeria, where demonstrators have gone on the road and demonstrations are going on. Now, Kenya and its government, William Ruto and his government, seem to be not knowing at least how to deal with demonstrators in most instances. They want to play democratic so much that they fail to understand that the softer that you are, I'm not saying that, you start, beating up people, killing them and all that. No, I'm saying right ways of how to deal with demonstrators, especially youths who are in most instances that disgruntled category of people that want to jeopardize peace for the rest of the people. Now, his government seems not to understand how to deal with them. He's the police and the military. So the way that they handle these people gives them the impetus that even tomorrow we can do the same thing. Even the other day, we can still come out and demonstrate, ransack people's properties, loot and do all that kind of stuff. Ban things all around, go and burn down embassies and all that. They still think they can go scot-free, and in most instances they go. You know why? Because the government wants to play double standard. We are democratic. How are we going to be seen that we're querying demonstrators forcefully? Now, this is the problem with them, okay? And it is going to affect them for a long period of time until probably at one point they change and get a military president. Now, what shocked me recently, not actually recently, but I think yesterday, there was this small trending video on social media where a demonstrator was seen, taking water. This is a person who's been demonstrating, probably carrying placard, throwing stones and whatever, because the video doesn't show what she was doing previously. But then she's seen taking water from the canister with the police officers who are literally supposed to stop them from demonstrating, to stop them from rioting. Because Kenyan demonstrations, they begin peacefully, they escalate from being demonstrations to riots to literally becoming, something that you cannot control unless you tame it at the very beginning. So this video was trending, and then the president came out to say, I beg your pardon. Yes, he came out to say that amidst tense moments in Nairobi, a police officer offering water from his backpack to tear gas protesters is quite an act of humanity. It reminds us that compassion can prevail even in conflict. Our officers too carry the heart of the nation. I appreciate the police. Now, as a president, okay, I will just give you a benefit of doubt for being a civilian president. If such a statement lands into the demonstrators' hands and they get to see your comments, there is no reason why they should stop. There isn't. Now, you want the demonstrations to stop. That's why your police is on the streets. That's why your military is on the streets trying to query that demonstration. But at the same time, you kind of watering what they're doing by, trying to paint yourself good. Okay, you want to show that the police is so pro people that now they can take from their backpack. Take water from their backpack. Now the question is, why should I stop if I am a demonstrator and I know when you throw the tear gas at me, I will get the same canister, throw it at you, and then when I'm tear gassed, I will run to you and get water to quench myself. How does it even work? That is the soft hand that I'm talking about that the government of police is using. And in so doing, they are trying to paint a picture that they are so democratic while they fail to handle things the right way. And no wonder demonstrations are demonstrations after demonstrations, not just mere demonstrations, but riots. Because you know how Kenyans riot. You know how they riot. They will attack embassies, they will attack parliament, they will ban things, they will ban cars, they will move wheel welding machetes, they will do everything. It is beyond just the demonstration. But because they have a soft government that wants to play double standard, democratic and yet undemocratic at the same time, they end up doing such. So there is no way you can query this demonstration. And believe me, you, as it goes on, it is going to continue becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until when they cannot control it. Why? Because they are giving demonstrators soft landing, soft bed. Now they are being encouraged by the president, because if you're encouraging the act of this police officer, which is okay at the face value, but in terms of how to query and control demonstrations, it is wrong. To me, this is a personal opinion, by the way. It's not governmental, it's not anything, but it's a personal opinion. If you show this precedent, then there is no why, if I am the demonstrator, there is no reason why I should stop attacking you, throwing stones, carrying placards, ransacking people's supermarkets, looting and all that. Because I know when something happens, I will run to you. So what is the essence of bringing out the police? Let people demonstrate freely. Don't attack them. Don't, beat them up. Why then do you do that? So that is the double standard I'm talking about. If you want them to freely demonstrate and express themselves, let them be on the streets, let the police stand a mile away. Now we shall know there that indeed you're democratic. But you want to beat them up, you want to arrest them, you want to, some of them be taken in numberless cars and disappear for months and months, and others not coming back, but then at the same time paint a picture that you are so humane, both as a president and your police. You're just playing double standards. And if you want to query demonstrations for once and for all, probably borrow a leaf from the man with a hat. You know who I'm talking about, your very neighbor. How does he do things? There is no joke in Uganda. They will handle demonstrators the way they are supposed to be handled. If you're supposed to be whipped, you will be whipped clean. If you're supposed to be arrested, you will be arrested clean. Especially if you go beyond the limits. And Kenyan demonstrations are never within the limits. They are always, doing big things, unthinkable things that, attract the attention of the entire world. Okay? The president of Uganda, General Yoweri Museveni, knows how to deal with demonstrators because he knows what it means. If you lead a demonstration, if you remember the Kabaka Buganda demonstrations of 2009, if I'm not mistaken, Museveni let it build up. And by the time they came to arrest it, it had really, really gotten out of hand. And from that time, he learned a lesson that when a demonstration begins like this, query it there and then. Put your foot on ground. But the soft ground that the Kenyan government gives to the demonstrators that turn rioters in turn is the reason why they are always in demonstrations and riots year in, year out. Like something like 3 times a year. Now, this is a simple matter. Not simple per se because someone lost his life. Probably we're not sure of the background story, but people die. This is a blogger who died in prison, probably out of beating, according to the reports. Maybe he was battered. But does that call for an entire country, an entire city of Nairobi going on a lockdown? Because no. So the government of Kenya has to learn from the neighbors, Paul Kagame, from the neighbors, Yoweri Museveni, from the neighbors, Samia Suluhu. How do you deal with demonstrators? How do you deal with rioters? Otherwise, he is going to continue in the same vicious cycle of demonstrations after demonstrations that will escalate, and at one point it could be the beginning of the end of his presidency if he doesn't deal precisely with the demonstration in Kenya. Because they are always seemingly looking for a spark to go on the streets. They put a new taxi, they are on the streets. A bird dies in its nest, they are on the streets. Something small happens, they are on the streets. For how long is that going to happen? The same scenario at one point was actually in Uganda, but the moment the president understood the dynamics and learned that you don't just wait for it to build up, it has never happened again. 1-2 days you're queried there and then, period, cease, disappear, because they will start with exactly the cause of the demonstrations, the master planners. Have them, talk to them, probably arrest 1 or 2, have them arrested for 1 or 2 days. And by the time you'd know, the demonstration has subsidized and disappeared naturally. Then if you escalate beyond that, you meet the black mambas, you meet officers, you meet no joking subjects on the streets, and they deal with you, and you end up going home. So it was my concern today, and I thought I should tell you that indeed the soft hand of the government of Kenya is the one that is, propelling demonstrations that are endless in that country. So indeed, if they want to find a lasting solution, borrow a leaf from your neighbors on how they deal with demonstrations, and you will cease to have this problem happening. Otherwise, it could be the root cause or the beginning of the downfall of Dr. William Ruto's presidency if he doesn't get to know how to deal with these people. Don't play double standard. Just be who you are. Okay? That's what I thought I would discuss today with you on Africa Uncovered YouTube channel. My name is TJ and I want to say adios. Please subscribe.